Welcome back to Cheddar Business, everyone. And Biogen gets a boost today. The drug maker saying it plans to pursue regulatory approval for its Alzheimer's medicine. Joining us now is Dr. Barton, Chief Technical Strategist at MoneyMorning.com. Dr., thanks for joining us here today. So explain to our viewers, what is the significance of this development for Biogen?
Yeah, well, if you look back earlier this year in March, they announced that the original trial had failed for this drug aducanumab, which is an amyloid blocker. So just so everyone knows what's going on here, within Alzheimer's, this is an Alzheimer's treatment drug. Within Alzheimer's, there's a protein that builds up around the nerve, the synapses in your brain that slows down signals, that makes functioning decrease. So this drug is to block that buildup of that particular type of protein. Mm-hmm. The trial failed, working worse than nothing at all in the initial trial, and this thing plummeted. This stock, Biogen, plummeted from 330 down to 218 back then. Mm-hmm. They've done subsequent trials that have given new life in a new trial they've titled Emerge, and that is what they announced the results of, and have given the stock this big boost. It was up almost 40% earlier in pre-market trading, now up about 28%, but a really nice jump for the stock for sure.
That's right, Dr. And of course, in the height of the biotech boom in 2015, the stock did at one point trade above $400 a share, and even with the big pop today, priced at about $288. Still, with a valuation of $40 billion before the stock opened today, and now $52 billion with this 28% pop, is Biogen the leader in the biotech space, at least on a publicly traded basis?
Well, I think that they have been a leader. I think they've been, in the last couple of years, if you talked about, from 400 down to 218 earlier this year, and now up pushing 300 again. I think they have lost a little bit of their edge. If this trial, if they can do good work here, and there's some skepticism as to whether or not this push to go through with the new data will make it through FDA on the phase 3 trial. But if it does, they're looking at a market of a $20 billion Alzheimer's market on what you just reported on a $51 billion market cap stock. So this really is a big deal, and that's why the market's reacting so well to it today.
From an investor standpoint, just explain to us how it might be a little bit more nuanced or more difficult to invest in the biotech space, to invest in a drug maker, given the long-term timelines of these clinical trials and regulation and approvals. What do investors really have to parse through?
Yeah, I think there are two basic ways for the normal investor, not someone who's out there and really understands the science. That's completely a different type of investor, someone who wants to dig in and understand whether this will make it through all of the clinical phases of trials. I think there are kind of two ways to look at this. Strong companies that get really tagged and get a big pullback, like Biogen did earlier this year, that you can say, well, I'll use those opportunities to invest in really good companies that will get new drugs in the pipeline, and over a period of years will give me some return on my investment, and I'll have to live with the volatility, with the up and down bouncing. The other way that somebody could look at investing in biotech is investing in a bigger basket of biotech stocks, like an exchange traded fund that puts a lot of them together, so there's no one clinical trial that you're depending on, but you're looking at growth in the industry through time, and that might be one, if you want to have some exposure to biotech, might be a better, less volatile way to go about investing in the space.
What's the timing, Dr.? Even though Biogen now wants to re-seek FDA approval, do we have a sense of when we'll have a clear answer on this?
Yeah, we don't yet have a clear answer. They did consult with both outside consulting firms, obviously, and with the FDA before they made this announcement. They used some very strong language about the follow-up trial. Basically, what happened earlier this year was the initial trial group did not show good clinical evidence, but they had some more people in trials that just didn't complete the trials in time for that intermediate check-in. So those additional people, they came through and did have an actual very good statistically significant improvement in mental function. So that gave them enough optimism to go back here and put it in. We're not going to see any real results for another half year or so from whether the FDA says yes, no, and it could be even longer than that.
How does this impact other drug makers? Do you expect them to make accelerated moves when it comes to Alzheimer's research?
Well, one of the big questions earlier this year when the original trial was declared a no-go was whether or not this mechanism at all, this concept that this protein was blocking brain function through basically forming a plaque on synapses, whether that was going to continue to be the predominant model that we use to fight Alzheimer's. So I think this will give all of the people, and there are other people out there that have amyloid blockers drugs in the pipeline, will give them some new hope. So this could have some science implications in the treatment of Alzheimer's, as well as just implications for Biogen.
All right, thanks for that breakdown. That is Dr. Barton, Chief Technical Strategist at MoneyMorning.com. Thanks again, Dr.